Good morning, Razorback fans. Welcome into the Hoop Hogs video mailbag. I am Curtis Wilkerson with Inside Arkansas and the Pod at the Palace, here to go through our daily Q&A on Razorback basketball, where you guys ask a question that's related to the program, whether it's players, coach, recruiting, schedule, whatever. Even outside the box things, if you've been following along with this, we cover it all. And we post one of these every single morning in an effort to make it all the way to the college basketball season that everybody is excited about. And it's coming up on us quick. Good stuff. I think official practices start tomorrow, so we're getting there, people. We're about, let's see, they play on October 25th against Kansas in exhibition, so just over a month away from seeing these guys in action against somebody else. It's exciting stuff. But let's get into it. See what the question of the day is. Comes from Nicholas Wiles. He says, what do you think future rosters will look like with the number of transfers and portal players? It's interesting because the landscape of college basketball in that regard is getting ready to change because they have increased the scholarship limit for men's basketball from 13 to 15. So you got a couple extra scholarship spots there. The only thing about it is John Calipari, well, he doesn't care, or at least he said he didn't. He seems pretty set in his ways when it comes to having a pretty set top 8 or 9 guys. And that's like the top 8 or 9 guys who are getting those big NIL bags, right? And then from there, it's, kind of filling out the roster like we see with this year's team with depth. He mentioned maybe being able to give scholarship money to graduate assistants who still have eligibility left. I don't know entirely how that would work, but it doesn't sound like just because there's going to be an increase in scholarships that he's going to fill that thing out completely. I get the sense that John Calipari feels like he was snake bitten a little bit last year at Kentucky. That was a real good team. Were they a 3 seed, 4 seed in the NCAA tournament? Obviously, they lost to Oakland there in the first round, but it was a good team, and they were pretty loaded. And early on, they were struggling with depth because they had several big men who were either injured or not cleared yet, which was the case with Big Z. But once they had their full roster kind of intact late in the year, it felt like John Calipari had too many mouths to feed. The rotation was kind of all over the place. And maybe he felt like he just had too many guys, and he said that. And so he really trimmed it down with the roster that he has this year. So in terms of what it's going to look like with transfers and portal players, in ways it's hard to say because that's what makes this so unpredictable. Like if a guy's not happy with his role, he can just leave and there's no penalty with that. Now, obviously you can fill and supplement the same way because the guy's leaving other places for the same reasons. Another thing you got to keep in mind with Coach Cal is he's going to be sending guys to the NBA. And so what does that look like on a year-by-year basis? Because that'll impact your retention in terms of who's coming back. Because I think that he understands, the days of having 6 or 7 incoming freshmen, those days are gone. And I think he understands that. He said that, and he's really said, 3 to 4 freshmen every year is kind of what he's looking at. So I think in his ideal world, what it would look like for his rosters at Arkansas would be fairly similar to what he's got going on this year. But he's got 3 big time impact freshmen coming in. He's got 3 returners to him, not returners to Arkansas, but we're talking about DJ and Adut Thiero and Big Z. So I think he would like to have that kind of foundation laid. And then 3 impact transfers. Now, Trevin Brazil is technically a returner, but you get what I'm saying. They got him out of the portal, right? And he's new to Coach Cal. But then obviously the home run additions and Nelly and Jonas Adu. So I think he likes the idea of having that kind of balance in terms of youth and experience and returners with continuity. And that makes sense. And again, all these other things kind of factor into it when it comes to how he's going to be able to do that every year, because you could have that plan. And the only thing he can really control is how many freshmen he signs, because all that, for the most part, aside from the guys who sign late, that takes place before the end of the season when you know who's going to be back, right? And so he could say, you know what, I'm going to bring in 3 freshmen every single year. And he knows he's going to do that. And then that's set in stone and you have it. Well, then things can get complicated for you in a hurry, because what if you have 3 guys go to the NBA and 2 guys decide to transfer? Well, then you might only have 1 returner, and then you got to go out and do more work than normal in the portal. You might have to go bring 5, 6 guys out of the portal, which I'm fine with. I know Razorback fans are, because you guys This is going to be really interesting to follow because, Cal had to bring an entire roster when he came in to Arkansas, but that's not going to be the case every year. Like if he has it his way, he's only going to bring in 2, 3 guys out of the portal every year. It's just going to be so much different. It's going to be adjustment is what it's going to be for Razorback fans who have grown accustomed to Eric Musselman going out and getting 8 or 9 guys, but there's just constant excitement and things always going on in the portal. Whereas Cal's probably, if he has things his way with some retention, the freshman that he brings in, he's going to be way more selective. It's not going to be the deal where they're contacting 300, guys a week out of the portal. They'll identify their needs. They'll identify their top targets. They'll get them in for visits. Bada boom, bada bing. It's a wrap. They got their dudes, and it'll probably happen fairly quickly. So for those who are going to be like, hey, buckle up with the transfer portal thread, and we're gonna be all over this thing every day. Who are the new names? What's the big board look like? It's probably going to be quite a bit smaller, but they're still going to get really, really good players. So I'm just planting that seed now because I know once portal season comes around, people are going to be hitting me up like crazy, and that's cool. I love it, but it's probably going to be a little bit less. And that was one of the frustrating parts with Muss was it was really exciting, but having to sift through all those names that they contact, and you really got to do some research. And it's like, okay, was this a courtesy call? Are they actually recruiting this dude? Are they serious about him? Who are the priorities? It was tough to keep a handle on. With Cal, it's going to be pretty straightforward. So for that, I'm grateful, I guess. But so I think that's kind of what we're looking at here. Nicholas, and I appreciate the question. I think he would prefer to have short rotations, in that 8 to 9 range. 3 freshmen, if he could get 3 returners and 3 transfers, I think that would probably be ideal for him. We'll see about, NBA and guys leaving and everything like that could impact it. And then in terms of filling out the rest of the roster, though, that's something I'm going to be interested in because maybe they have guys who come back. Like, I mean, maybe Melo Sanchez comes back for another year, Cash Chavis, whoever. Maybe those guys stick with the program and really develop. And that could be cool. Like I would be all in for that. But if those guys move on and you have more spots at the end, to fill, what are they going to do? Like, there's so many transfers out there. I feel like there was maybe a little bit of meat left on the bone in terms of they could have had some guys who would understand that they were coming in and you're going to be, the 10th, 11th, 12th guy, whatever on the roster, probably on the outside looking in for the rotation, but you're going to be in a really good program on a really good team with the chance to be a part of something pretty special. And there are a lot of guys out there who would accept that. Maybe low major guys who were productive where they were at, who want to make the jump and be a part of something like that, who want to experience the NCAA tournament. I think you could identify guys who would accept that role, who might have a little bit more experience, you'd feel more comfortable, I guess, turning to if you were in a pinch where you had injuries and things like that, which is something this year I'm not entirely sure that they necessarily have. So I wonder if he mixes that up a little bit, or if he gets to a point where he kind of increases that, I really want to only have 8 guys or 9 guys max. Maybe you just add a 10th, just an added piece of security, right? I'd be okay with that. I'd feel all right with that, but I do understand where he's coming from. So again, appreciate the question. It's a good one. It's valid. It's going to be interesting to see how John Calipari continues to evolve as the game evolves in recruiting and roster building and the portal era. And then the differences between, how he puts together a team versus how Eric Musselman does and probably will continue to at USC. So guys, keep them coming. Right. We've got on my Twitter profile a thread that's pinned, the Hoop Hogs video mailbag. If you have any questions at all, there's no such thing as a stupid question. Even if it's something we've answered before, we'll find another way to answer it, a different angle to attack it. So don't hesitate to throw it in there. If you don't want to put it in the thread, shoot me a DM. DMs are open, and throw your questions in there. If you follow along on YouTube, and I hope you do, get subscribed to the Inside Arkansas YouTube page, and you see these flowing across, just throw a comment in there, and we'll go back and we'll find them. We'll get to them eventually. So I'm going to get out of here, but we're going to be back in the morning once again. This has been Curtis Wilkerson with Inside Arkansas and the Pod at the Palace. Everybody have a good day. We'll see you soon.